No, it's nothing for you to be sorry about.
There we go.
And good evening, and welcome to the Raleigh Board of Selectmen meeting for September 14th, 2015. And as a reminder, this meeting is being audio and video recorded digitally. And I call the meeting to order at 7:03. Okay. We have citizens query tonight from 7:05 to 7:10. And we have 3 appointments tonight at 7:15, Conservation Agent Brent Bazelak for signing of 9 Turcotte Drive Memorial Drive deed, and Justin Floodman to discuss Eagle Scout project. And at 7:30 p.m. we have the Fire Chief REMA Director James Broderick to discuss MEMA Emergency Preparedness Month. And at 7:45 Nate Comley to discuss flea market license application. So our first order of business will be a pledge of allegiance to the flag. And Eagle Scout candidate, would you mind leading us in a pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, Brent, we've got about 1 minute to go. So if you talk real slow for the first minute, we'll be all set. But no, you can go ahead.
We have citizens for
Oh, yes, well, yes, citizens query. I'll declare citizens query open now from 7:05 to 7:10. I don't hear any comments there, so, okay, Brent, we got to the 7:15, I'm sorry. Okay, all right, we'll get these things going
Happy
here.
to address the board at your direction.
No, that's okay, just don't follow my direction sometimes. Please. All right, we'll jump down to general business. And item number 1, excuse me, well, you may have to do it anyway.
Mr. Chairman?
Item number 1 under general business is road opening permit application from Raleigh Water Department to open 5 and 19 Circuit Drive for the purpose of an emergency water repair. Okay. This has been approved by the highway surveyor and approved by the municipal water department, the police department detail, fire department, and conservation. The agent was on vacation.
I came in today.
Okay. So you're okay with it, right?
Yes.
All right.
I'll give you a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion made.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the permit to the water department to do repair on Circuit Drive for water leak repairs. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, general business number 2. Road opening permit application for Raleigh Water Department to open 19 Christopher Road for an emergency water repair. And the highway surveyor has signed off. The water department has signed, the Raleigh Police Department has signed, fire department has signed off, and the conservation agent obviously is still on vacation. Although he did come in today, so we're all set.
Give you a motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Chairman?
Thank you. Okay. General business, item number 3. And that's a letter from Scoutmaster Jack Ross, Troop 13, Michael Dalzell's Eagle Scout rank. And it says, the Board of Selectmen, Town Hall, Raleigh, Mass. Dear Selectmen, I am writing to you to inform you that Michael Dalzell has gained the rank of Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts of America. Michael was awarded his Eagle rank on February 19, 2015. As you recall, Michael's Eagle project was to build bat houses in the Eris Field to help combat the mosquito population for the baseball players. Sincerely, Jack Ross, Scoutmaster, Troop 13, Ipswich. So, is there any
I'll make a
discussion?
motion, Mr. Chairman, that we send him a congratulatory citation.
Citation, okay.
I'll
Yeah, that
second
would be a good idea. And they did do a great job on that bat house project. I happen to have the privilege of watching them when they started to put them together. And it was really quite interesting to see how they had pre-made all the parts and then were putting them together and getting them up there for us, so. Okay, all those in favor of sending a citation to Michael?
Aye.
Signify by
Aye.
saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the time is 7:10, so citizens' query is closed. We get another 5 minutes to kill here. General business number 4, request from Cub Scout Pack 15 to use Town Common for annual recruiting and popcorn fundraiser. Attaches an email request from the Cub Scout Pack 15. Okay. Okay, it says, dear, good evening, Amy. You get down, Amy was dealing with them on your emails. First, I was preliminary writing to see if we could use the town common for our fall fundraiser kickoff. The fundraiser generally uses the town common as a staging area for the scouts to collect their supply of popcorn and go and sell in various parts of town with parents. We'd like to request use of the common Sunday, October 4th, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. In the past, we have also requested to put up a banner on the backstop of the town common or place a lawn sign on the common along Route 1A to advertise, announce the popcorn fundraiser. Lastly, we were wondering if we could also put a lawn sign on the common to announce to the town that this is our sign-up time for new scouts. Scout recruitment will begin during the September 29th meeting. So we'd like to have the sign up for about 3 weeks, September 8th through the 29th. If I could provide any additional information for either of the above requests, I'd be happy to do so. I hope you have a fantastic summer and look forward to your reply. Many thanks, Rob. And Rob is Robert Barker, I think. That's the only Rob I can find on here, although that's the police chief.
Rob the chair, I guess.
I think he's probably the chair of the
Scoutmaster.
Scoutmaster Pack. Okay, is there any discussion? Any
I give you
comment?
that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried. General business number 5. Discuss September 11th, 2001 memorial and donations from Ipswich Rotary and Country Gardens. Okay. Unfortunately, this year, the town did not have a September 11th services, and at the memorial this year due to the rain. There will be a cemetery next year to mark the 15th anniversary, led by Reverend Bob Hagopian of the Congregational Church. The Ipswich Rotary did a fantastic job in sprucing up the memorial. Country Gardens graciously donated the plants, and the Ipswich Rotary, led by Rotary President Bob Gravino, installed the plantings and cleaned up the landscape around the memorial. Bob Snow took pictures, see attached, of the memorial after the Rotarians finished their work. Does the board wish to send thank you letters to Country Gardens and the Ipswich Rotary for their donations and time spent to maintain this important town memorial?
I'll give you that motion.
And I guess my comment would be yes, most definitely,
Yes. They did a very, very nice
because they
job.
did a fantastic job.
Yeah, it really looks,
It
looks
really, the bushes had actually kind of got out of control, and I know at one point in time, one of the family members approached me and wanted to know if we could do something with them. And I have to be honest with you, I kind of held off on that because I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure I could contact all of the family members, or at least a member from each family. And I was a little, I was a little hesitant because I didn't want to have it look a little shabby if we started hacking on the bushes.
Yep.
So, but they just eliminated them completely, and it really made a huge difference.
yeah, they cut back those lower limbs
Yeah.
on the pine tree
And,
there, and then they had the
The
flowers.
pictures are great, Bob.
Just looks really
Yeah,
good.
just let me explain. The reason my name is in this is because I'm the Rotary Club's photographer,
Mhm.
and that's why I take all the pictures for the club.
Oh,
So,
very good. You did a great job.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, I'd
if
like
they
to thank-
Hold it up, they can get it on the screen.
We can try. Which camera are we using, guys?
There you go.
Yeah, looks good.
Can they see that okay, then? There's one there.
One more. Very nice.
Okay.
I'd like to thank Selectman Snow for providing those pictures. Very nice.
Yep.
Thank you.
Did a great job.
could I just add one thing about
Sure.
9/11?
Yep.
I know we're gonna celebrate next year on the 15th anniversary, and I knew this was the 14th anniversary, and I was out and about on Friday morning, and it had rained Thursday night, and I knew there was probably not gonna be able to do anything on Friday morning, but it had cleared a little bit, and I was driving through town, and I bumped into Chief Broderick, and I said I'm gonna head over to the memorial. So Chief Broderick and I went over to the memorial about 8:40, and we had a moment of silence at 8:44 and remembered the Trentinis and Laurie Olson.
Very awesome. Very
And,
good.
and remembered all the people that day, and especially the firefighters who ran into danger, and the people on Flight 93 who were the first people to fight back. And remembered all those people that day. So, again, it was just the chief and I, and it was a spur of the moment thing. So,
Well, that was great.
okay.
That was really nice. So, okay, so that takes us to our 7:15 appointment. And that's Conservation Agent, Brent Bazelak, the signing of the 9 Turcot Memorial Drive deed, and also Justin Floodman to discuss Eagle Scout project. Okay, I can read the application. Town planner Kirk Baker has sent a site plan review application package to the Board of Selectmen for comment. Oh, that's not it.
Mr. Chairman, your appointments are in the green folder.
Oh, okay. I'm used to doing the other ones. There we go. Okay, Conservation Agent Brent Bazelak is here tonight for two items. The signing of the deed for 9 Turcotte Memorial Drive and to meet Justin Floodman, who is interested in doing an Eagle Scout project at the Dodge Reservation. Number one is 9 Turcotte Memorial Drive. The May 4th, 2015 annual town meeting approved an article that authorized the Board of Selectmen to transfer this 2.01 tax title parcel at 9 Turcotte Memorial Drive to the Conservation Commission. Brent has worked with attorney Judy Pickett in writing the deed, and it is now ready for the Board of Selectmen to sign. The parcel is forested wetlands and is contiguous to other open space parcels. The board needs to vote to sign the deed. Brent will notarize it. Okay. So the deed is on that page.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion made.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Commission appreciates the support of the Board of Selectmen and preservation and protection of this parcel, which was identified as having been moved into tax title foreclosure due to non-payment by the original owner developer.
Yep.
And so in the process of review, as the town appropriately does with the participation of various town departments,
No, they had, just,
we identified that its possible highest and best use was for preservation of the natural resources that are on it.
I agree.
That's it.
Yeah,
Okay. That's it, right?
I think so. I'll look these
Just
up.
one?
Yeah, the other one's, there's 2 pages for signatures, so.
Yeah.
Mine's the last one on the second. That's all.
That's the original.
Yes, you have there's the acceptance of the grant by the Conservation Commission is one of the original documents,
Yeah.
and the attested town meeting article.
The article
provided by
itself.
Susan Hazen.
But that only requires Susan's signature. So,
That's right, yeah.
so I think we got all of our
It's just
signatures.
the first 2 pages.
Yep. Okay, and you're gonna notarize it, so. Okay, item number 2 was Brent and Justin Floodman of Troop 15 will discuss expanding the trail network in the Dodge Reservation as part of an Eagle Scout project. Okay. You wanna,
If the selectmen could turn, due to the fact that we don't have the electronic display for use this evening, the selectmen have been provided with a hard copy printed out packet, which is the presentation by Scott Floodman. I'm now going to turn it over to him.
okay,
My name is Justin Floodman, and I am a Life Scout of Troop 15 in Rowley. And my purpose here today is to explain my proposed Eagle Scout service project, and to also seek support from the Board of Selectmen before going to Boy Scouts of America for final approval.
God
The
bless.
Girl Scout property, or now called the Dodge Reservation on Weathersfield Street, was purchased by the town of Rowley in 2014, and existing systems of trails and lanes lay on this property. Trails, many of the trails were overgrown, but 2 trails have been cleared. Clearing 1 remaining trail would create a walking loop and make the property more useful for the town residents. To make the property more useful, I propose for my project to clear an approximately half-mile path to complete a loop trail, create a sign to be placed at Eris Park to direct people towards the trail, and refinish a picnic table that lays on the property so that walkers may utilize it.
okay.
On the next page, there's a picture of the property map, and in the center, there's a large black circle with an arrow pointing to it. That pink dotted line is the trail that I'm proposing to be cleared. The green line that it connects to has already been cleared by Mr. Basilick, as well as the orange line that is also on it.
Okay,
So like I said, Mr. Basic has taken the time and effort to clear a long path which is named Smith Lane. Smith Lane stretches from Ayers Park to Weathersfield Street. This will be the entrance road for the rest of the trail system. On this slide, there are two pictures that show the entrances to both the sides of the trail that I'm looking to clear. As you can see, they're overgrown and currently impassable. These pictures show the picnic table that lays kind of in a meadow area, and as you can see, it's kind of worn down, will need to be sanded and painted with, I think we decided on linseed oil, depending on the cost and work with that. And on the next picture, there's a picture of the large meadow that can be identified as a part or a ball field due to a backstop that is on that property. And I feel a lot of people would be able to utilize that to their specific needs when they're hiking this, kids or animals or whatever they wish. So the plan for my project would be that it begins in October of this year and finishes in November of this year. It would require about a maximum of 10 people at a time, although that number is going to fluctuate depending on what I'm looking to do. And I estimate about 142 total man-hours for the entire project. This would involve an extensive safety and orientation to avoid safety issues, many that we may come across when we do this project. And tools will be brought and donated by volunteers so that we can clear the trails more effectively. So the support I need from the Board of Selectmen is to approve and support this proposed project so that I may propose the project to the Boy Scouts of America and they know that the town and the Conservation Commission is behind it and approve of it. What I have completed so far is I have scoped, done a general scoping of the project with Mr. Basilick. I've done a preliminary project planning. I have conceptual approval from the troop. I have approval from the Conservation Commission. What I need to do still, I need to get final approval from the troop, which should be coming very soon. Approval from the Board of Selectmen, approval from the Boy Scouts of America, and then I can start to work and complete the project. In conclusion, these clear trails create a recreational opportunity for the town. The restored picnic table will provide a rest area for walkers, and the sign at Aris will direct hikers, bikers, and riders to the trails. If approved, the project is projected to start in October of 2015. Please consider approval of this project.
Okay. So, very good. That's a nice long trail to do too.
Is the trail long enough that it would require any arrows or
About a half a mile.
Yeah, I will, as I installed on the Smith Lane Trail, the Conservation Department has arrows, directional arrows and stuff, and I will be installing those.
Excellent.
Is there any consideration to naming any of these trails?
No,
Okay.
well, the question has not been asked before.
Okay.
Obviously, the historic route of Smith Lane lended itself
Perfect.
to the first segment being called the Smith Lane Trail.
Perfect.
I'm not aware of none of the historic maps that we located within the former Girl Scout camp seem to attach a name to this particular Woods Road
Right.
segment,
Right.
which we're utilizing and opening up for this quote-unquote loop trail. It certainly could have, a name
What
put to it.
what I was thinking, Brett, is we, once Smith Lane is fine, we know that's there and where it is,
Yeah.
go down through. And once we start opening up these other trails that the Girl Scouts had in there, then it may be nice if we could name some of those.
Certainly.
And I would like to make a suggestion on this particular one that that you're going to do. And that would be Brookside Farm Trail,
Okay.
or River's Edge Trail, whichever one sounds better. But,
I'm not actually sure that this goes anywhere in close proximity to
well, it's,
a running brook, but
it's,
that may not be the I don't know what the origin of that,
Well,
was Brookside an actual farm or a homestead?
River's Edge was, yes,
Or River's Edge was?
Dodge's farm.
Then maybe River's Edge
Or
would
the
be
old Dodge farm, not the Dodge farm, the Doyle farm
Doyle Farm.
originally was the,
Well, then
was
maybe,
called.
maybe River's Edge
River's Edge would be the,
more historically appropriate.
yeah. And it's probably one of the closest ones to the river. And because once you start, as you well know, you started on the orange one and got that partly done. But the closer you get to the river on that one, the lower the land gets and the mushier it gets. It's all kind of a swampy area.
Right.
So we wouldn't really want, unless you want trails down there. I know in the original Girl Scout plan, they put in wooden walkways in that area down at the bottom there,
Yeah.
so.
Well, the idea, the idea on this particular priority for doing this was number one, that it was a woods road and it already had definition.
Yes,
It already didn't appear to have any areas that were soggy, mushy, or subject to inundation.
Yep.
And would create a loop so that
it does take,
access from utilizing the Smith Lane Trail, you'd then have a loop and not have to have the redundancy
Of
of
going back,
going
yeah.
back the exact same way that you came in if you were accessing from.
Right, and it really
Harris
does
Park.
take you right up to the main part of the,
And
camp,
it
so-
also has a very good, between Smith Lane and this potential River's Edge trail, has very little topographic relief. There's only one short little climb, the Moosehead Rocks.
Moosehead Rock, yeah.
The Moosehead Rocks Trail does provide an opportunity of change of grade and going up to that promontory, which has those significant glacial rocks that were deposited. And so the idea here was also that folks that didn't want to do a lot of climbing, either horseback riders, bikers, or also walkers who don't necessarily want to break into a sweat to do a climb,
Exactly.
would be able to utilize this loop and go back to Harris Park and yet have a very nice walk, have Windy Meadows, as it was formerly called, the Meadow area,
Yeah.
with the picnic table then available for a very convenient place to have a picnic lunch or,
Right.
or just sit down, enjoy a snack and get your breath and then continue on with the trail. So, I mean, this is absolutely marvelous that Scout Floodman
Yes.
has
I-
chosen this as a
to
project.
Step
and it-
forward, I think it's gonna come out really nice, yeah. It's gonna be a good project for you, it really will.
And again, the map section that you're utilizing there does show a trail that went much closer to Batchelder Brook. And I'm really waiting for the leaves to drop and us to get into fall to then do some more reconnaissance work and actually see if there's an opportunity to either resurrect or if we have to redirect where some of those
Out of that.
former trails
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
from
Is-
the Girl Scouts.
Is that, when we were out there, we were looking for a trail, is this the one, the half-mile trail, or is the one that's down by Bachelor Brook? We couldn't find,
To be quite honest with you, I really didn't specifically do reconnaissance on these trails, mostly solely because I wanted to direct the efforts
Sure.
and then hopefully utilize the opportunity of this service project
sure,
to immediately give that sort of functionality and that usability to the property.
I can't remember, we went on this long loop, and we came back, and we came across, and I was
Right.
wondering if this was the one that we came across and we couldn't find, but we were like, maybe this is the trail, we weren't sure.
Yeah.
It was pretty overgrown at the time. You've done a great job out there,
Well, since,
Brent.
since this map came to light, it
Mhm.
actually shows that, and I don't know what the Y Camp folks are calling it, but when we recently visited them and they took us down to the tent platform areas that they're about to use, when I did the boundary work, which one of the boundary lines comes in and makes a 90-degree angle right near those tent platforms, that's where the trail, which for lack of a better word, I'll call the Batchelder Brook Trail,
Okay,
comes from the camp area and goes in the direction. And surprisingly enough, the map shows it coming up and joining where the Moosehead Rocks Trail intersects this woods road that is about to be reclaimed and become part of the trail system.
Good.
I've been out there a number of times for the purpose of doing the reconnaissance and preliminary work so that a service project would be successful and not run into any barriers or unforeseen problems.
Issues,
And I've
yeah.
looked for where that intersection is from that Batchelor Brook
Mhm.
Trail and have not located
Not
it all.
located. Wow.
So I really am, once the greenery and the leaves get out of the way from the deciduous plants, if there are any remaining painted blazes, I imagine that they will become evident once I look for them, since
Interesting.
that's what they used to do.
Right.
was, use these rectangular painted blazes for the
Yeah.
trails.
Okay.
So with this trail, it's about a half a mile,
Yes,
what Justin said. So
right.
it would give you approximately a mile in the whole loop,
It gives you a mile and a half.
mile and a half.
Really,
Because
if
of
you
the
start at
Smith
Ayers
Lane.
Park, come all the way in
Mhm.
to the closest proximity to the camp where these two trails join,
Right.
and then come back on this trail
Yeah.
that Scout Floodman is about to resurrect.
Right.
That'll give you a mile and a half
Excellent, excellent.
without redundancy. Then you've got the other half mile returning to Ayers Park that you're
Yeah.
going to see again from
Yeah.
different perspectives.
Right.
So technically, it kind of gives you a 2 mile.
About a month ago,
2 mile
Mr.
walk.
Chairman, my wife and I, after our meeting that day at the camp, I think Joe was with us, we took a walk from Ayers Park. You have to park by the ball field, so you got a little bit of you have to walk through Ayers Park. We went down through there, and other than the fact there were a lot of deer flies, it's a beautiful walk. It is, it's very level, very easy for the older people or people that, aren't real firm on their feet to take that walk. And in fact, we sat at that particular picnic table that that's as far as we went to the ball field, sat at the picnic table and walked back. And I would encourage people in the next 2-3 weeks, because a lot of those swamp maples are gonna start turning, I assume, real quick. If you get a nice day, it's a beautiful walk down there, and if you look, the people looking to get out in the woods, I think it's probably one of the finest walks in Raleigh at this point. When Justin gets finished with his trail, to make a nice loop like that will be, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful area out there, and I'm so happy that the town took advantage of buying that, because it's really, really an asset that's gonna be used for forever and ever. And I'm sure by more and more people as they become familiar with it, and Brent's doing a fantastic job with the trails.
Yeah.
The Scouts have done a number of different conservation projects related
Right.
to the town's conservation land. Justin continues that tradition. And, just to be congratulated between the extra work that Brent puts in above and beyond. I mean, it's not just, he puts a lot of extra time in that we don't even recognize. And
No, I know, he's done a lot of
this
work
is one
on
of
it
them, and
too.
to help the Scouts and everybody else to keep this going. I mean, it's an asset it's a physical asset and a people asset that we really appreciate. It's no way you can really thank him enough for the work he does and for the Scouts for all they've been doing. So
Yeah.
just,
And when this is
hope
done,
people-
it'll be on the same par as the Great Marsh Meadow
Mm.
trails. It really will be. Those are kind of nice down there, and but these will be right at the par with those.
Rough Meadows, you mean?
Rough Meadows,
Yes.
yeah, it really will be. I mean, it's great views, and it's a little bit different than what's on the marsh. So if you're looking for a different perspective of this land, it's fantastic, and I encourage everybody to go take a look at Moosehead Rock. It's been there for many, many years, and it's quite unique.
No,
It looks like
it
looks like the
and the
rock.
wildlife viewing opportunities are also.
Yeah.
I invited the Mass Audubon's director of the Joppa Flats Sanctuary to go out there and introduce him to it in case he wanted to lead any birding walks out
Sure,
there.
yeah,
I had the great fortune of the day that I was finishing putting up the trail markers at Moosehead Rocks that an immature bald eagle went soaring over.
oh, no kidding, wow.
So, I mean, just, yes, the property is gorgeous.
Very good, so we need to take a vote.
Oh, one thing, Justin, nice job on the PowerPoint.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very good.
Very nice.
Yes,
Nice speech you gave, that was an excellent presentation.
yes.
All around.
I move we approve Justin's Eagle
Request.
Scout project.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Justin, you're off and running.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Oh, thank you for coming in, and thank you for taking on this project.
Thank you.
Yep.
A great presentation tonight.
Thank
Good
you
job.
very much.
So before you proceed to another item, there is a little bit of signature
Signatures
and
worked on.
paperwork.
I'm getting
for
that
the-
out
for
for
the
you
deed,
right
if-
now.
If I may, if I may consummate that so that we
Justin,
can get that recorded.
Congratulations.
I think this is it right here.
Good job.
Yeah, the page, I just need the pages where you signed, and if I may request from you a signature.
Okay.
What grade you in, Justin?
I'm a sophomore at Triton.
Sophomore, okay. What's your interest?
I'm not sure yet, but
Not sure? Okay.
yeah, thinking about it. Maybe computer science or law or something.
Two good choices.
We should put that right side up, shouldn't I? That way you can read it either way.
Coming and going. It's notarized.
Sounds like WPA.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
As always.
And again, very appreciative of the support and the thanks from the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you.
We owe you the thanks, believe me.
Yeah,
we owe you the-
absolutely.
May I
Thank you.
be of any further service to the board?
Get out while you can.
Run.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck in
you.
school
Good night,
this year.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you
to
very
All
meet
the
you.
best. Thank you. Good night, Brent.
Good night, Brian.
Okay, now we have at 7:30, and we're about 10 minutes beyond that. Sorry about that, Chief.
Oh, that's okay.
Fire Chief, REMA Director James Broderick to discuss MEMA Emergency Preparedness Month.
Okay, as you are aware, every month, or every year in September, MEMA has a Emergency Preparedness Awareness Month. And I think this year took a little bit more light, because the governor wrote a proclamation about it and stuff like that. So we're here is kind of discuss what emergency preparedness awareness is all about. And if people were to go to the MEMA website, which is mass.gov/MEMA, it gives you a portal into what they're talking about, and they've broken it down into 4 different areas. Be informed, make a plan, build a kit, and get involved. And we'll go through each one of these 4 themes. Be informed. In this section, they discuss ways that you can get yourself informed about impending emergencies, storms, and how to get quick information. The page, if you went to it, which I have the third page, is what the front of the website will look like. And they discuss ways of getting informed. And one of them is signing up for your local communities, and I'm going to use this in quotations, reverse 911, because what we have isn't quite not reverse 911. And this will allow community leaders to get important information to you. If you're have a child in Triton School District, you have something that ConnectEd. It's basically the same thing where the school can get information out to you. Well, the town has it. I believe it's Connect CTY, but don't hold me to that. But we can get the same information out, but you have to enroll into it. You're just
Yeah, that
not
is-
going to get a phone.
That is correct,
Yeah.
Chief. Connect C too.
Okay, other areas where you can get it is, there's an app that you can get on an iPhone and on an Android. It's called Massachusetts Alert. And it's and a way for the state to get information out to you really quick. And it's a free download. Takes about 30 seconds to load it onto your phone. And whenever there's a weather alert, an amber alert, or something that's important that the MEMA decides has to go out to everybody in the state, your phone will ping, basically, and it'll give you important information as to what to do, whether there's a hurricane impending landing, fall on Massachusetts, whatever. It's a free app. Doesn't take a lot of room on your phone. I have it on all my phones, and it does help me a lot as an emergency management director. Another thing is to listen to commercial media, such as radio and television. When there is something, they broadcast all the information. The MEMA's Facebook and Twitter accounts, they have information going out all the time on that. NOAA weather radio, this mainly applies for severe weather storms, hurricanes, snowstorms. It'll give alert information for, seek shelter and stuff like that. When the tornadoes went through a couple of years ago through Massachusetts, or even last year or this year even, it would give out information for areas that's specifically going to be impacted by the event. So if, say, something happened in the western part of the state, we wouldn't, the local NOAA radio frequency here wouldn't broadcast it until it really was specific to our area. A lot of radios in cars now already automatically pops right in. It'll block out everything else that's going on and put this weather alert out. When you're in a motorhome, it's very useful.
And I think the closest NOAA station is in Gloucester.
Yes, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And Gray, Maine is the other one. So you can, depending on where you are, is what you'll pick up in your, it's either going to be the Gloucester station or going to be Gray, Maine.
I actually programmed the Gloucester station into my alert radio, so.
And then the last one is the emergency alert system on radio and TV, which everybody's heard the tests, and every once in a while the tests really are an emergency that they need to get information out on for you. There's more information on the website, which you go through it and it gets a little bit more into detail on that stuff. I don't want to bog the meeting down. Make a plan. Okay. There are as many parts of a family's plan that should be included, and they are communications plan, a shelter-in-place plan, and an evacuation plan. Communications plan, due to the fact that everybody's going everywhere, the family unit possibly won't be together when an emergency strikes. So it's important to have a plan on how to communicate, whether it's a certain area where everybody gets to meet, just a predetermined location. For an example here, if you lived in this end of town, why don't we all meet at the library? If something happens where the power goes out, the phones go down, everybody meets at the library, and then they can, get everybody together and go on and deal with the incidents. And one that will be distant from home in the event you need to evacuate to. So say if you have grandparents or aunts and uncles that live in Fitchburg, Ashburnham, out in that middle part of the state, all right, that's where we're going to get everybody and head out that way if we can't stay in our house here. The other thing is to download the FEMA Family Emergency Plan, which is FEP, which I did include in here, and that is this document here. And what you can do is fill out all the information, important information for each individual in the family, including Social Security number, medical information, date of birth, work addresses, home address, places that you frequent, so that if we're trying to find everybody, we have a list of where we can start looking for everybody. The other thing that it has on it is you can make cards. This would be good for your kids and all that, with the family contacts, emergency phone numbers for local contacts, out-of-town contacts, other important information, and you can cut it up, fold it, laminate it, and put it in your wallet, so you have all the information that you need right there. Use the ICE in case of emergency function on your cell phone. All the new phones that are out now have it, where you see ICE, you can go into that, and you can put in pertinent information dealing with yourself, emergency contact information if something happens to you, and if the police or fire department find you and we don't know who you are, the phone could give us that information that we're looking for in the contact person. Consider using the American Red Cross Safe and Well program. It's a service that they provide, and give you more details on it on the MEMA website. Create a shelter-in-place plan. During some emergencies, you may have a shelter in place like hazmat spills, hurricanes, flooding, blizzards, or law enforcement activities. As part of the plan, you would need to consider what you would need to do in advance for shelter in place. And then there's a web page section on what you should do. Depending on the type of incident, close the windows, lock the doors if it's a lock-in-place for police activity. If there's a hurricane or a tornado going through town, they'll tell you, close the doors, get downstairs in a safe spot, away from windows and all that, so that at least if something happens to your house, there'll be something protecting you. That would be some of the things to do if it was a hazmat spill, which we hope we'd never see, or a terrorist event where you have to seal yourself in a little bit. There's a list of stuff that you need, like plastic tarps, duct tape to help seal off things that kind of buy you some time. Evacuation plan. Some disasters or emergencies may require evacuation, since there may be times when there's no time to plan. So having a plan before you have to evacuate would be very advisable. And the plan would include where you're going to go, how you're going to get there, how do you evacuate, what do you bring, what do you do with your pets. If you're going to a shelter, if they're not service animals, not all shelters can accommodate pets, so you have to think about what you're going to do. If you have large animals like horses or livestock, how are you going to deal with them? That's stuff that you need to think about before you have to really know what you need to do. So it's important to have a plan on how you're going to deal with all that stuff. Again, it goes more into detail on the MEMA website. Building a kit. A kit could help you if you're planning sheltering in place, or else if you have to evacuate. And some of the items that we're going to talk about, some of it's going to be easy to take with you, and some of it, well, yeah, how am I going to bring 6 gallons of water with me? So it's you bring some with you until you get to a shelter. One of the things that if the water should happen to stop flowing for whatever reason, or you lose power and all that they say you need to have a gallon of water per day for 3 people. No, for 3 days. So if you have a family of 4, that's 12 gallons of water you have to have. So if you have bottled water or stuff like that, well, you have to have enough water in the house to get you by if you can't get water to drink. Canned goods, non-perishable foods, especially things that you don't have to cook, are advisable to have in this kit than perishable foods or dehydrated foods that you have to boil, water to heat up. So no matter how disgusting it may be, canned ravioli, SpaghettiOs, stuff like that. In an emergency, Dinty Moore stew, that's what you need, because you don't have to really heat that stuff up. It tastes better when it's hot, but you can eat it when it's cold. Vegetables, canned vegetables, fruit, stuff like that. Dried nuts, fruit, bread, cookies, and crackers, because they got so many preservatives in them, they'll last forever. Peanut butter and jelly is a good staple unless you're highly allergic to peanut butter. So coffee and tea, a manual can opener. Some of us that were in the military know the old P38, but which is a good can opener. Doesn't take a lot to use it, and they can just about cut through anything. Manual can openers, a radio-powered or hand crank NOAA radio with extra batteries, a flashlight with extra batteries, first aid kit, diapers and baby formula if you need it, pet foods, a tag and a crate. In some places, if you have a crate, you can bring your pet, so it'd be something to consider. If you have medications, you should have at least a 2-week supply, but you can't let it sit, buy it and not use it because there is an expiration date, so you have to keep up with that. Extra eyeglasses, which I'm not, well, you know what I'm talking about. I'm wearing my spares right now. Extra batteries for hearing aids, wheelchairs, or other medical equipment, oxygen tanks. If you need these things, you have to think about this. A whistle to signal help. If you're trapped in your house, blowing on the whistle, people can hear it. It's easy to use, and moist towelettes, garbage bags, soap, sanitizer, personal hygiene items. Again, it helps kind of keep your hands clean and cutting down on bacteria and stuff. Wrenches and pliers so you can turn things off if you have to. Battery operated clocks. Make copies of all your important documents and IDs just in case you lose the originals, you have them. Cash, because if the power's out, the ATM isn't going to work, the credit cards are going to work. So, have some cash on hand. Water purification tablets and household bleach. If you have to start using water, you got to make it so it's potable so you can drink it. Then they go on camp stove or grill and waterproof matches or lighters, which some people have and some people don't. Change of clothes and sturdy shoes. It's important to have good footwear. If something does go wrong, flip-flops aren't going to help you. You have to start walking. You got to have some good footwear. Sleeping bag or blankets to help have a place to sleep. Disposable plates and utensils. Warm clothes in the wintertime. Light clothes and sunscreen in the summertime. Books and games and puzzles for the kids to keep them occupied. And duct tape and plastic sheeting. Okay, that would be in your emergency kit. And then you can make it tailored to what you really need. Make it so it's easy to take, or even have one for the home. And then they have a checklist of what the MEMA and FEMA feel are important to have, and as you make the kit, you can check off as to whether you have it or not. And the last thing that they talk about is getting involved, and which basically means if there's a volunteer organization in your community that you can help, call firefighters, always looking for new ones. The MRC, which is the Medical Reserve Corps, they're out of Topsfield, and that's set up so that if they have to give out mass immunizations, that's people with medical experience that can help inoculate people. Citizen Emergency Response Team. There is one in the region, in the regional RATC that we're in. There is one. We had one in Raleigh at one point, but people move on. If there isn't, we don't have well, it's a good thing that we don't have a lot of emergencies to deal with, but people do lose interest in it, but it's good to have it. In the Mother's Day flood of 2006, the team that we had at that time was filling the sandbags down at the town hall for people to help sandbag little weather's coming in. Join the American Red Cross chapter. Again, there's a section on the website that deals with more of the agencies that you can get involved in. And that's, in essence, what the awareness for the month, disaster awareness is for the month. Any questions?
You mentioned radio relay?
Yes.
Yep, there's another one.
So, I mean, that's a good one, because
Yes.
when you can't make communications, generally they can.
Yes.
Right, they can. Yeah,
Yep.
because of the low band that they operate on.
Yep.
Yep.
And there is an active unit in Ipswich, and we had Jim DiMarino in town is involved in that. He's our RACES director.
Yeah.
And it does become a vital link to the outside world if something happens and all our modern communications break down. There is still a way that we can get out to the outside world with the ham operators.
I'm a licensed too.
Oh, oh, good.
What's the formula for if you need to purify water with bleach?
I don't know, but I can get you that answer. I'm not sure, and I don't wanna tell you
Yeah,
something
right,
and
but People
make
should
it
know
s-
that, people
they
should
should
know
know
what that is.
Right, I believe it won't be a lot, it depends on how much water you're trying to purify
Mhm.
and how much bleach you have to use. I can tell you that a 40-gallon tank, I sanitize my motorhome, it takes a cup of bleach to 40 gallons
For
of
40
water,
gallons,
so,
yeah.
so if it's 40 gallons, it's a cup.
But people should know
Yeah,
what that is for a gallon of water.
right.
And even in today's thing, you can buy the straws, purifying
Yes.
straws that you can use. The federal government uses them all the time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so
Um,
you can get them through surplus distributors.
they've been distributing, there was a program on TV the other day, and they were showed it in Africa, and they distributed them to the village, and the kids using the straws. I was just amazed watching that.
I think the important part is to make a plan and set
Yes.
something up and talk about it.
Yes, communicate it with your family. It's very important, and that way everybody knows where they have to go, and they'll get there eventually.
Yeah. All right.
Was good, Chief.
Well said, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too,
All right,
thanks.
thank you.
See you later. Have the cookie dust.
Thanks.
And now we're down to 7:45, and we're about 15 minutes late at this point. And that's Nate Conley to discuss flea market license application. I don't know if he's out in the hallway or
Go
not.
check.
No, it's just
No, we're gonna table
delayed.
it.
We'll table it.
Delayed?
Oh, we're gonna table it, okay. I
Okay.
didn't read the, yep. This item needs to be tabled since the applicant needs to get a special permit from the planning board under the revised Rowley Protective Zoning Bylaws, establishment for a flea market antique store overlay district before getting the flea market license from the Board of Selectmen. So that was easy.
Do you have to move to table it?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Yeah, until such time he's ready to appear before the selectmen, we will make a motion.
Okay, here,
I'll give you a motion to table.
I'll second.
motion made and seconded to table the application for the flea market license. Signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, that takes care of the appointments. Now we can get down to new business, and it's review site plan application submitted by Clark Associates LLC for a two-family residential dwelling on Assessors Map 24, Block 137, Lot 1. I don't know if you had a chance to read your mail and take a quick peek at this.
Yes.
But,
They're really gonna change the looks of that area of town.
Aren't they?
yeah, it's gonna be a duplex, I guess.
Yep.
So the form is here.
Other than that, I looked at it, any particular comments beyond?
I mean, it looks to be like a standard type application. So the engineering stuff is here, the form is made out. So I think we could, at this point, either make comments or just send it forward and say at this time, we have no comments.
Yeah, I have no comments on
I
it.
have no comment.
No comments.
Okay? We will do that. We will send it off to the planning board. Okay. New business number 2, and that's the Great Salt Marsh Garden Club request to use Town Hall Auditorium for designing gardens with trees and shrubs. So this is the Great Salt Marsh Garden Club on specific dates. Okay, it's on March 8th 2016. They're looking to use the Town Hall Auditorium at 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it's to design gardens with trees and shrubs. Garden Club's joint meeting with Ipswich Town and Country Garden Club also open to public. And admission charge or assessment charge or any type, none for members. Non-member fee is it's
God bless.
$5. So,
I'll give it a motion, Mr. Chairman.
okay, our club and Ipswich Club both have insurance. Cliff Pierce has agreed to attend and will lock up and open doors. I think he should open doors and then lock up,
Yes,
but that's okay. I think it'll work.
I'll
So,
give it,
just to, in an effort of full disclosure, my wife is a member of the club, and I believe this year I will be.
okay,
I'll give it a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve it.
motion made.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. And we can mark that on the calendar so we remember it next year, next spring. Okay. New business, discuss town hall and annex trash and recycling removal contract. Request for price quotation, trash removal and recycling. Request for price quotation, trash removal and recycling services for the town hall and town hall annex building was sent out to 5 local vendors on August 19th, 2015. We have been informed by the State Department of Labor standards that the town is required to pay prevailing wages for trash removal and recycling services for municipal buildings. JRM Hauling and Recycling was the only company that responded by the September 2nd, 2015 deadline. They have quoted a 200 flat pickup fee for both buildings for weekly trash pickup and bi-weekly recycling pickup. The Highway Department has been picking up the trash and bringing it to Mellows weekly for those 2 locations, and the janitor has been taking recycling to the recycling center periodically. The average monthly cost has been approximately $70, not including the wages for the Highway Department employees. We recommend that the Board of Selectmen award the contract to JRM Hauling and Recycling, the responsive and responsible company who's offered the lowest flat pickup fee. Any further discussion?
I'll give it a motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, new business item number 4, review and discuss disclosure of non-elected municipal employee of financial interest and determination by appointing authorities submitted by Shellfish Constable Travis Nealand. Okay, Travis had a conflict of interest with his family being in the shellfish business, so he contacted the state and filled out the disclosure form. Has everybody had a chance to preview it? Seems to meet the criteria. So the selectman's going to I might as well read this whole thing, right? Review and discuss disclosure by non-elected municipal employee of financial interest and determination by appointing authority submitted by Shellfish Constable Travis Nealand. Shellfish Constable Travis Nealand has filed a disclosure by non-elected municipal employee of financial interest and determination by appointing authority as required by Mass General Laws, Chapter 268A, Section 19, with the Board of Selectmen. Travis is filing this disclosure because his family's shellfish business. His family's business has a commercial clamming permit and harvests clams from the Valley Flats. Travis contacted the State Ethics Commission and they advised him to file the Section 19 disclosure and to present it to the Board of Selectmen for a determination on whether this particular matter and the financial interests identified in the Section 19 disclosure is not so substantial as to be deemed likely to affect the integrity of the services which the Board of Selectmen and town may expect from the employee. The Board of Selectmen need to review the Section 19 disclosure form. The section that falls under the appointing authority is on the bottom half of the second page. If the Board of Selectmen makes a determination, the Selectmen must sign under the appointing authority signature line and include any comments under the comments section. So, on the bottom half of the second page, I'm assuming it starts here and goes down.
I think it's just so far it's down here. I think it's yeah, right there.
Mr. Chairman, we talked about that with him when he came in. I think it was pretty clear as to what everybody's expectations were, so I have no problem, you know.
I agree. We went over it very carefully with Travis, our attorney.
So we need to sign on page 2 of
I'll
the.
make a motion for you to sign it, Mr. Chairman, if no one else has any.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, that one's down. Okay. New business item number 5, discuss water department issues, treatment plant, water main breaks, Greenbury Farm Road, and water board executive session meetings. Okay, discuss water department issues. Water treatment plant. The water treatment plant has moisture issues, security panel ground fault problems, basin issues. So, we got any, have we heard anything, or have any information as to what's going on with those particular issues?
Near as I can tell from going to the meetings, Mr. Chairman, is besides chasing the superintendent, they haven't done a lot of work with these issues. They always seem to get tabled and put across. I think one of the biggest issues is gonna be is funding on how these things are gonna be paid for, because it's stuff that should have been done as part of the original plan. Time has gone by now, without any, resolution from the water board, so, we may well end up having to go to town meeting to pay for some of these issues. I know the water superintendent, before she was suspended, was working on these issues, so I think they're probably gonna come to a halt at this point, but I don't know that. Maybe Mr. Manning can elucidate a little bit, but we're just discouraged that, you know, no little is getting done up there except for chasing the superintendent.
Yeah, well, we know that the moisture leaks are an issue with the
Yeah, I mean, everything,
humidification.
the road, the
But-
leaks,
But I think one of the bigger ones, and John will probably agree, is the basins. They even never got plumbed the way they should have been plumbed. The pipes are not where they
Little bit
belong.
of an update.
Yeah.
It's the water, it's not a water leakage issue, it's a humidity issue.
Right.
Pipes
yeah.
aren't leaking, but they're sweating ridiculously. Mary Beth and I were on a subcommittee, one commissioner and the superintendent. We had actually met with some outside vendors and whatnot, gotten some opinions, and she was working with the state to get us to use some of the SRF funding, but time was tight. They were going to make an exception, and now she's not available to do this. So it's just another chalk mark of a problem. The basin issue is the same thing. She had been working with looking to get an engineering firm, who I think we approved to move forward with something. Again, it's not gonna move forward, and she's not available to pursue it, and is the subject matter expert with deep knowledge there. I mean, keep going, but just, I'm not gonna editorialize, but.
No, we understand, John, and thank you very much.
And the issue of the Pingree Farm Road, a year ago in the fall, I know I worked with her at that time, and we looked at the road, went out with the highway department, and then we did get some wind pack put down, road pack, to make it passable for the winter, since there was no way to fund it. The issue went to town meeting, and, the water board originally approved the plan to get the money out of their emergency fund. But then, when it came to town meeting time, they didn't really do much to support it, and the townspeople voted it down. I wasn't at that meeting. I wish I had been, because I would have said a few things about it. It's a critical issue. But at this point,
I wasn't on the water board at that point, however, I was in town meeting, violently opposed because the information presented was lackluster and not informative, and they were quoting a paving project of, I think, 2.5 miles, when in fact the road is like 2,000 feet. The numbers didn't work, and they just didn't do their homework prior to the meeting. But it is a problem.
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem this winter again, because the road that was done, the work that was done up there by TW Excavating was meant to be temporary. Now it's kind of become a permanent thing. I haven't been down there recently, potholes, and the frost gets in it and the snow comes, but I mean, at this point, until we get to another town meeting, there's not a lot that can be done with it, and it's too bad, because it probably could have been done last year for less money than what it's gonna cost next year. Every time we put off one of these kinds of projects, over time, they just cost more money, so it's just frustrating that, and, John has worked hard on some of these things since he's been on the board, and the board up there just sits back and, they're oblivious to some of these problems that really need to be dealt with, and it's just, well, whatever.
Yep, any comment?
You're not going away.
As we go down through the list here.
Okay. Our next item on the new business here is the Water Board Executive Session meetings. And number one is September 11th, 2015 meeting. Meeting agenda does not comply with the open meeting law. Actually, John, I can read that you sought a legal opinion from Town Council, Labor Attorney Joseph Fair,
Correct.
that we made available to the Water Department to use if they needed some representation. Debbie distributed the opinion to the Water Board on Wednesday, September 9th. John Manning read it into the record prior to the Water Board convening an executive session. The Water Board willfully and intentionally disregarded the opinion of council and proceeded to go into executive session.
I have that letter with me, I'd like to read it to you.
Okay, I was gonna ask you if you had any
Yeah, I
comment,
have it with
John.
me. I'd
Yeah,
like to have two statements, that and another statement.
okay,
So,
Yep.
And this is a letter that was addressed to Debbie Egan at my request to have an opinion, since I didn't feel it was proper, but I'll read the entire text. You've requested an opinion regarding whether the attached agenda reflects items that are permissible topics for executive session under the open meeting law, OML. I'm presuming the purpose of this opinion that the notice of the meeting was posted at least 48 hours prior to the scheduled meeting date and time. If that is not the case, however, please let me know. In my opinion, the only topic described in the agenda that the OML permits to be discussed in executive session is the review and approval of the August 25th, 2015 executive session minutes. This assumes, of course, that the August 25th executive session itself was a lawful one under the OML. If it was not, then the discussion of those minutes in the executive session would not be legally permitted in my view. As you are aware, there are a limited number of purposes for which town board can enter executive session under the OML. Given the vague and ambiguous nature of some of the descriptions that have been used in the agenda, it's not entirely clear what topics the water board will even be discussing. As described in items 2, 3, and 4 of the agenda, do not fall within the scope of what can legally be discussed in executive session under the OML in my view. As such, I would not recommend that the Water Board proceed with such executive session discussions. In addition, I also noted in reviewing the attached agenda that there appears to be an open session portion scheduled for the meeting to discuss and approve the minutes of what I am presuming is an open session portion of that August 25th meeting. Despite this, there is no open session heading that appears above the agenda item as the Attorney General's office has advised. In the future, I would recommend that all agendas include such a heading. Please feel free to contact me if you have questions. Thank you. That is the letter that I read to my colleagues, and their response was, can I have a motion to go to executive session?
Wow.
So, and quite enlightened. And at that point, I collected my material and chose not to participate in what I viewed and I think is backed up an illegal meeting. To that end, I'd like to make a statement. And I sent this to Deb, stating my position as well, that pursuant to Mr. Toomey's emails from 9/11 to today, he makes a statement that indicates the board was fully in agreement with his actions. I want it known that I did not participate nor condone in any water board actions. I notified the other members that their movement to executive session was not appropriate by reading Mr. Fair's letter into the record. The other two members of the board voted to go to executive session. I voted no, they overrode it, I departed. I find any and all of the actions purported to be by the board are not unanimous actions and do not represent me. I believe under advice from the town's labor attorney that the meeting and subsequent actions are illegal and thus null and void. These actions were done in direct contravention to Mr. Fair's opinion and not to hold the open session as posted. Again, I want to be on the record as opposed to those events and in no way participating, and I would ask the Selectmen, the Board of Selectmen, to seek the severest penalties for violation of the open meeting law and the wanton disregard of the town council's opinion to not go to executive session. Period.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I attended that meeting as one of the attendees. There was a number of people there. I think one of the most egregious things that happened after John read this opinion, it was obvious that they'd already, it didn't matter. John attempted to, in fact, they were reluctant at first to even let John read the letter. When Mr. Toomey finally acquiesced, and John said, I'll give a copy to everybody, he just kind of like, yeah, whatever. It was obviously, he'd already made up his mind that they were gonna do what they were gonna do, but my biggest concern is the way they handled the superintendent. She apparently had some correspondence from the board, from the water board, previous to that meeting, that they were gonna discuss her performance, and she was told to be prepared to leave the truck, the keys, and whatever. So that by discussing her performance in executive session, which was illegal to do anyway without the proper notifications, one of the biggest rights that she has is she can request that be held either in executive session or an open session. She made the statement, and one only has to watch the meeting on television or the computer. She requested the meeting be held and the discussion of her performance be done in an open meeting, open to the public. Mr. Toomey, the chairman, said, no, you didn't tell us that before, so therefore we're gonna do that in executive session, basically. At that point, she said, well, I'm not gonna take part in that, and I don't blame her, I would not have taken part in that either. When we all left the meeting so they could have their quote-unquote executive session, the superintendent came out with a group of people that were there, and the chairman of the board, Mr. Toomey, came out and said to the superintendent, are you gonna come to the executive session? She said, no, I'm not gonna come. And like I say, I think everybody at that point supported her as far as she had the right to have an open session. They didn't want to do that, and she didn't want to take any part in those discussions. Mr. Toomey then said, well, that's insubordination. I don't know how he come up with that being insubordination, but I do know that the letter she got later on, or the later correspondence that we've gotten complained about her insubordination by not going to that meeting. But the whole thing was totally illegal, and she was put in a position of having her reputation sullied, and when she wanted that in open session, because she's done nothing wrong. In other words, this so-called suspension, she's done absolutely nothing wrong. She's done more work up there in the year that she's been in office, a year and a half, whatever it is, that she's been appointed up there than the previous superintendent did in 20 years, as well as bringing on the water treatment plant. And she's in early, goes home late. She's put in all kinds of time. She's not only covering her position, but for the last year, there's been no office, I don't know what they call administrative assistant or something that does all the office work. So therefore, she goes in early in the morning to get her work done. Come 7 o'clock, she has to open the office and deal with the employees. So as our office staff can attest that no one that sits in an open office with the phone ringing and the public coming in is going to get any work done on the real stuff she does. And the amount of paperwork that she puts out, the amount of information she provides is phenomenal. I've been on the selectmen for 10 years. This is my 10th year. I've never seen information coming out of the water board like she produces it. And she bends over backwards to do anything and everything she can. And you know, I just get so frustrated with it. I just happen to be looking through my files today. If you go back and look at the January 1st edition of the Newburyport News, January 1st, 2015, the headline is "Water Department Hits Crisis Point." And I'll just quote myself. I'm quoted here. I'll just to keep it brief. The Water Department Board is showing, it's a statement I made at the Selectmen's meeting, the Water Board is showing a complete lack of cooperation, lack of respect, and a lack of ability to work with the new superintendent. And all it's done, that this was 9 months ago, that statement was in the front page of the Newburyport News. What do we see in today's Newburyport News? Waterhead placed on leave. Raleigh board member says decisions to vote was taken in an illegal meeting. I mean, we've gone nowhere in 9 months other than backwards. This woman has worked her head off to open that treatment plant, to get the plans put together, to get staffing in place, doing the job of 2 people, and one only has to watch, and Bob Snow and I generally go to most every water meeting. Sit there and people can, I encourage everyone to watch that meeting from the other night, or any of the water board meetings, and see the way that she is treated up there. I mean, there's a complete lack of respect. Whatever she wants, they vote the opposite, or they table it, or they give her a hard time on it. I mean, it's sad, and she's working so hard for us. She's working for the water system and for us, and to have the water board meet illegally and vote to suspend her, and I hope the water board realizes that she's suspended with pay. She's home now with pay for 2 weeks. They sit up there and tell you how they're worried about the water rates and spending money, and well, she's getting paid. And then they turn around at the same meeting, which they had to have had pre-planned, and it's my own supposition at this, and appoint a temporary superintendent that they're gonna have to pay, which I don't see us paying. We're not gonna approve it, I don't think. And I would make a recommendation when we get to it, that we vote not to pay for the position, as well as they have some person's gonna be investigating the whole situation. I question what right they even have to investigate it. On top of that, I question as the article in today's paper said, that the superintendent has 3 grievances against Mr. Toomey, the superintendent, the chairman of the board. If the grievances are against him, now he's led the charge to suspend her. To me, that's outright intimidation and retaliation. And the problem we're gonna have is that, she's gonna get a lawyer if she doesn't have one already. She's gonna sue the board, but in reality, she's suing us. The board is an entity of the town, so they created a situation where, in an open and shut retaliation, I mean, you can't even argue the case. He should have recused himself. He should not even been involved in the discussions up there. Go ahead, John.
Point of extra right on that is that, again, when the grievances arose, and I didn't know really how to handle those, I sought counsel from Deb, who's the head of the personnel board, gave me direction on how that's supposed to roll out, and there's another possible open meeting law violation where Stu and Tim responded, included Stu's response when it was again directed just to himself. How did he know? There's a bunch of questions that need to be answered there, but let that be. And under advice from the town's labor council, Joe Fair, he said that Tim should recuse himself. We should set up the open meeting, an open meeting hearing or whatever to address those. And I reached out to both of the commissioners, and crickets, no response. And the response was to have an emergency meeting, and then where we are right now. So I don't know if that was their perceived solution to these grievances.
Well, I think, John, it's max of total retaliation. That's, how else can you say it? They're
Well, excuse me, we were in the process of trying to set up a second step grievance, and Vice Chairman, I was very clear, the Vice Chairman needed to preside over that due to the nature of the complaints were against Chairman, the current sitting Chairman.
Right.
And an attempt was made to schedule that meeting and bring in the labor attorney to that meeting. And at the time that was trying to be scheduled, that's when the water board decided to schedule what they called was an emergency meeting, though it did mean, an emergency meeting usually means less than the required posting time. But it was posted within the 48 hours. It was not called a special meeting. The agenda obviously was very strange looking, as the labor attorney clearly pointed out, which we all realized did not seem to make sense. But the timing on this, so now we're kind of have to hold all these grievances against, that have been filed against this member of the water board in abeyance, because they don't seem to want to respond to participating in this meeting. And it all happened at the same time.
It's just, it's a situation whereby, in a totally illegal meeting, at which she requested to have at a public meeting and they declined, they suspend her. So, if they don't want her to work, that's fine, go home and have a couple of weeks vacation. But I think this board, at some point before we finish, needs to pass a motion that she is gonna get paid. I mean, people commit crimes out there in government, and when they get suspended, they get paid. So she's committed no crimes. In fact, I find it hard to believe that anything that she's done rises to even to the level of a suspension.
Right.
She's gonna get paid.
And she's on salary.
And she's on a
It's
salary,
a salary,
so she should get her money. And at the same time, I would say that because we authorize her to sign the bills that these other members never want to sign, and the payroll that they never sign, they haven't signed for months, that we authorize Rob Swiniarski at least, or probably not even him, we authorize Debbie, in the event that the water board fails to sign the vouchers for pay and to pay bills up there, that we authorize the town administrator to sign off on those, so that the bills can get paid, and obviously so the employees can get paid. And the other thing is that we refuse to pay until they legally appoint someone, we refuse to pay that temporary superintendent. Why are we paying two superintendents at the same time when there's no need to? And that we also, based on the illegal nature of the appointment, whoever this so-called investigator is, that he wants to work for free, I guess he can, but we're certainly not gonna pay him to, and this was all done in an illegal meeting, so none of it's valid anyway.
Right.
And like I say, even her suspension to me is totally invalid, but if they don't want her to come into work, she can have a nice fall, if that's how long it takes. And I question, one second, John, and I question under what authority they have to even conduct an investigation when, they're all tied up in grievances and so on and so forth, and they should be recusing. The thing's a mess, an absolute mess. And I would say that if we're gonna recommend that this stuff goes to the Attorney General, that this board makes a very clear statement that as a result of the flagrant violation of the open meeting law, that the two water commissioners, Mr. Dazel and Mr. Toomey, be personally fined for the violations and not the water board of the town, because we've obviously bent over backwards to tell them and inform them to do things correctly. They flew in the face of that and did what they feel they can do whatever they want. We've done as much as we can legally do. It's time for the Attorney General's office and the Ethics Commission to look at this, and I think I think in this case, it's so flagrant that we should recommend to them that we hope that they'll, fine them the maximum amount that they can, because this kind of stuff can't go on. A lot of times these open meeting law violations are small boards that inadvertently hold an executive session or something they don't realize, or at least they can claim. But this here is that they've given an illegal opinion. Mr. Toomey's quoted in today's paper that some state official told him, "Well, you did fine." Well, I mean, I'd love to get the name of the state official, because he should be fired. So, I mean, it's a real quagmire here, and, we're spending, this board and our office, the town administrator, is spending, probably 75% of her week dealing with water board issues that shouldn't have to be done, because they have a good superintendent, cooperate with her, work with her. She's doing a great job, and everything would be humming along the way it should be. And considering that over the years, and Bob Snow probably better can talk about it than me, the garage gate, the tree gate, the deer gate, twice in my time on the Board of Selectmen, the entire force up there is workforce, other than the superintendent, has quit, and we have crises on hiring. I mean, this board has been a thorn for many, many, many years, and it's culminating now in illegal meetings, and everybody else is wrong, and they're right, and it's just, it can't be allowed to continue.
Well, you may have another avenue you didn't even discuss, and I didn't realize it. I ran because there's issues there, and I saw a need, something I could help out and do, and I became a commissioner right at the time of that $20 surcharge fiasco, which was, again, I won't editorialize, but I talked with them, and we rescinded it, and the depth of feelings in the town surprised me. I didn't understand that these guys were being watched incredibly by a lot of folks. To that end, since Friday, I've been approached by 4 people to initiate recall actions against those 2 commissioners. And so I think by the end of the week, if not the beginning of next week, you will see paperwork, and they're gonna have to deal with that situation as well. And again, against the other 2 commissioners, so just sharing that piece of information.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
I think 3 weeks ago when you watched this meeting, I'm talking to everybody at home, I took you down memory lane, and I took you to the past 5 years of everything that's transpired at the water department, and it continues on and on and on, and it's always the water department. We've come to a point in our town where I think we need to move to the next step. I think we need to take the water commissioners and do away with it and put them under the Board of Selectmen. Other towns have this, and they don't have the issues that we are having. 5 years we have gone down this road over and over, and I called it Groundhog Day, and it is. We wake up all the time, and it's another issue of the water board. Okay? I gotta thank John for stepping up. Thank you very much for running this time. And again, here we go, down the road again. 5 years. You think we could clean it up by now? You think that we could put this to the side? No. Here we are, again. You people at home on your couches should be absolutely irate that this is going on. 5 years, and it's still going on. You ought to come off your couches and get down to the water board meetings and sit in there and see what's going on. Go back and take a look at all the meetings that Dave and I have gone to. It is appalling. And I use that word, remember, during Deergate, and then Gategate, and then when they built they disregarded everything and built that
Penthouse.
addition, penthouse on the back, and I took you for a little stroll through the building, and you got to see the stove, and you get to see the $100 coffee maker. I'm sick and tired of going down this road over and over and over. I hope you're sick and tired, and I hope you've heard everything tonight here, and you're appalled as I am. And you should be angry, and you should be yelling at your television sets right now.
I think we just lost a couple of viewers. They just broke the screens.
Well, I mean, I've been here 8 years, I've sat on this board, and we just keep, and for 5 of them, we're going down this road. Again and again, we have to look, the town is growing, it's time to move on, it's time to get the water commissioners out of the picture, under the preview, of the venue of the Board of Selectmen, and go from there.
Mr. Chairman, can I follow up? I'm sorry to interrupt, Bob,
No,
but
that's okay.
at the meeting, a few meetings ago, Mr. Dalzell passed out and talked about the acts of Chapter 11, the acts of 1946. That was when the state legislature authorized the town of Raleigh to run its own water system.
Create a water system, yes.
Under Section 8, the selectmen of said town shall serve as water commissioners until the election and qualification of water commissioners. Whenever the phrase Board of Water Commissioners or Board or Commissioners occurs in the act, it shall mean and include the Board of Water Commissioners or the selectmen acting as such as the case may be. Then it goes on to say, said town may at an annual town meeting or at any special town meeting held less than 30 days prior to an annual town meeting, vote to elect at the next annual town meeting a board of 3 water commissioners, and it tells how they elected now. So basically what the act did was that act authorized the town of Raleigh at a town meeting to create the Board of Water Commissioners. My theory, and it's only my theory, I'm not an attorney, is that if the town meeting voted to create the Board of Water Commissioners, they weren't created under the Act of 1946, the town was authorized. That the town meeting can rescind that vote and make the selectmen water commissioners again. And in fact, that act was approved January 28th, 1946. The town did not vote to create the water board until the town meeting of 1952.
52.
So it was 6 years, the Board of Selectmen, after that act was enacted, it took 6 years before the town voted to make create the water board. And I would like to have us make a motion to have town council take a look at the possibility of, if the town meeting created the Board of Water Commissioners, if we have to go that route. I don't think any of us want to be water commissioners.
No.
But as Bob just said, we're not only spending all our time doing it, we have to fight every meeting and go to all these meetings to get anything, to try and get anything done, and all we do is whack our heads against the wall. So I would like to see the issue at least researched. If we can't do it, we can't do it. But I think we need to take any action that we can to get this thing moving. I mean, the water commissioners at this point, now I exempt John because he has done a yeoman's job up there. But they should be fined, they should be chastised. These violations of the open meeting law, these are not borderline issues anymore. These are issues that they flagrantly violated. They're setting the town up for a humongous lawsuit with the superintendent, the way she's been treated, the way they're retaliating against her. And it's just an absolute disgrace. And we sit here in frustration, and Bob and I show the most frustration because we go to almost every one of those meetings and sit there, and I've been known to leave the meetings, and Bob has too, in frustration with the things that go on up there. So I think we just, I hate to go on and on, I'll cut it off now, but we need to take some kind of action and make sure that, whatever the motions are gonna need to be made tonight to set everything in motion. And a lot of this stuff takes time, it's not gonna happen overnight. And Bob and I will continue to go to the water board meetings and present our facts and issues as best we can, and support John and what he's trying to do up there, and support the superintendent. And I just hope that, that the board doesn't think that they have the authority to fire the superintendent, because, you know, we have, these employees work for the town. And we have a personnel system and a grievance process and a disciplinary process that all the town employees are under. Union has they're under the union rule, all the other town employees, and you have to follow it. They followed nothing here, other than they do what they want, when they want, how they want, illegally and everything else. And it's a matter of, you know, we need to do whatever we can to bring them to account, because as Bob says, the people at home that are, it's your water system, you're paying the bills, and we do have a high water rate bill because of that plant up there. The water superintendent is trying to make up for the design flaws and the construction problems up there. We had hired 2 different clerks of the works. We didn't, the water board did, to make that plan come out right. We still got major problems. One clerk of the work, I guess, was following the other one around, and I don't know what they were doing, but they certainly weren't doing, they didn't seem like anybody was doing too much work in our interest. She's up there trying to make up.
$26,000, by the way.
Pardon me?
To the tune of $26,000.
Yeah, well, no, they're trying to save us money.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something that, you know, that's our lifeblood. And if she gets fired or gets suspended for a length of time, and it means we have to hire someone from outside to come in and be the temporary superintendent, it could mean that the DEP just notified her that they can run that plant on automatic for 24 hours a day based on the staffing that's available. If that staffing isn't available, they're gonna come down and shut the thing down. It's gonna have to be manned, run once again only when it's manned. So there's some major issues going on here, and you know, the water board needs to deal with those issues, and the superintendent has been pushing them for months on all these different issues, and everything gets tabled and everything gets put off, and their priority is to chase her. And she's the one doing all the work up there, and she's trying to follow all the rules, and it's just totally frustrating, totally wrong, and we're gonna end up getting a big lawsuit as a result, because if I was her, I would certainly be looking for an attorney if she hasn't got one already, and say, look, you know, this is a travesty of justice and needs to be taken care of. I'm done.
Dave, you could probably answer this also, but I've been on this board for 8 years. I can't remember one time, and I'll poll the board on this question, but I can't remember one time where town council gave an opinion and somebody went against town council's advice. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Bob, you're a historian. I mean,
Yeah, well, Bob, I've been around town for a while, you know, not too long, but for a while. And I always had the philosophy, I mean, I worked for the town. I was in the light departments for 35 years. And I dealt with council. And I always calculated that if I asked council a question and they give me an opinion, that if I say, no, I don't like your opinion, I'm not gonna do it, who's gonna defend me? It was gonna be town council. Town council's gonna defend me. So if he gives me opinion and I tell him, you know, I don't want your opinion, see you later, and something happens, I'm on the hook for myself. So I always accepted town councils and never had an issue. So,
I was absolutely appalled on Friday, hearing the statement from town council that John read into the record, and then a total disregard for it. Appalled. And what else can you say? I mean, I was stunned.
And then to go on and make the decisions they made illegally in the executive session that was illegal. I mean, they just compounded what they started out, they just compounded again and again and again. And we're in a position where, you know, I don't know how we straighten that out.
well, can we go on a little bit further here?
Sure.
I've pretty much said what we need to say, you think? Okay. Well, basically, the Board of Water Commissioners apparently, and when I say Board of Water Commissioners, John is excluded because he did not participate, hired Paul Provost to be the interim superintendent, and that this place, we surmise, and I don't know how else it would have taken place, because there's no other meeting that says anything about it, during this illegal executive session. Also, the Board of Water Commissioners hired William Marcello of Saugus, Mass., an attorney, to conduct an investigation, and there again, it had to have transpired during this illegal executive session. So I have asked Debbie to prepare a draft open meeting law complaint on the September 11th meeting. The board needs to review this and approve it. Does the board wish to file open meeting law complaints for the August 25th, 2015 Water Board Executive Session? And for the Mr. Toomey and Mr. Dalzell conducting business outside of a public meeting pursuant to a response to a grievance filed by an employee? If so, does the board wish to authorize Chairman Murray and Debbie to file these complaints?
I'll give you the motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That was voice unanimous, by the way. Does the board wish to notify Weston and Sampson that actions by the Water Board during the September 11th meeting to hire your company were done in an illegal executive session and is therefore an invalid contract because it was not made in compliance with the open meeting law?
I'll give you that motion.
I'll second that one.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Voice unanimous.
Can we just mention in that also that as a result, you're not gonna, the selectmen aren't gonna pay, aren't gonna sign the warrants for those illegal actions.
Well, it's an invalid contract.
Right.
We're not gonna pay.
I mean, make it clear in the narrative
Yep, no, we can do that.
when she notifies them that, you know, they can do what they want, but they're not gonna get paid for it.
Okay. And I think unless there's something else, I think that's pretty much it at this point.
Well, I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, about researching the possibility of the water commissioners being dissolved by town meeting.
We can look into that.
If we just, in other words, at this point, it's just have and make a motion to have the board authorize the town administrator to have the town council
Take a look at it.
take a
I'll
look at it
second
and
that.
advise us
Okay.
on that account.
I have your contact information, I'll call you back.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Finally, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Water Commissioners be notified that they did not indicate in their so-called suspension notice whether the superintendent was to be paid or not paid, that the superintendent will be paid her normal salary during the time of the suspension. And also that we've authorized the town administrator to sign off on payroll and bills in lieu of the absence of the authorizing water superintendent.
Could I just,
I don't know how you exactly want to word
could I
that.
just modify that a
Sure,
little bit?
absolutely.
I'd like to ask John a question. John, could you kind of review those bills if we pass this motion? Could you kind of review these bills and sign them for us, so that way at least we know that somebody has looked at them
Right, that's fine.
and keeps track of them?
Sure, I mean, I do anyways.
I know you do, that's why I'm asking. I
But yeah,
just wanna
I'll
make sure
continue to do
that.
that, and
Yeah.
just make sure whoever is processing stuff lets me know and puts them in the window, and
Right,
I'll make sure that I review and see a signature at least.
okay.
Well,
Any
I'd like to
further
make-
discussion,
I'd like to make
comments?
that motion.
You made the motion? Do we have a second?
I second it.
Bob seconded, okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Is that okay, Deb? Or-
Yes, does the board wish to send any type of notice to Mr. Muscella? It's unclear to me in what capacity. He is an attorney, apparently, working as an investigator. That I'm not sure when they were appointed. I don't know if Mr. Manning can discuss this.
I don't know how he was appointed and who appointed him. However, he contacted me today, and identified himself, and that he was retained by the Raleigh Board of Water Commissioners to investigate the superintendent, Mary Beth Weiser. At which point I stopped him. I told him that I did not approve of that, did not know who he was, why he was hired, and what he was doing, and to not contact me ever again without proper notice.
Protocol.
I might have used stronger terms than that, but anyways, I was furious. But I have no idea where this guy's coming from, other than he identified himself as having been retained by the water board to investigate Mary Beth, and
Right, yeah, I think the same letter should, I would make a motion that we send a letter to Mr. Michello advising him that he was appointed illegally, has no authority, and will not be paid for any services conducted by the
Well,
water board.
should, Mr. Masala, has he been on the property?
anecdotally I've heard that. I mean, I have no facts other than hearsay.
And he should not even be, if he hasn't been hired, he shouldn't be on the property, correct?
Well, not beyond the public area of the building.
Yes, public area of the building.
The lobby.
Again, anecdotally I've heard he's gone all through all the records today.
Yeah, and this is a disgrace. It's just a follow-up of absolute travesty of justice that's going on up there. And like I say, people at home, I'm telling you, water board meetings next to 22nd, I hope you see 500 people parading down there, because it's your water system and it's going down the tubes fast. This board's been fighting this for a lot of years, and it's totally out of control up there, and it's so totally illegal what's going on, and it needs to stop. And
I would like to know if Ms. Masala has been through water records or anything like that.
we don't even know what he is. What is he?
I don't know.
He's supposedly an attorney, but now he's coming across as an investigator.
Investigating. Somebody told me he's a dentist.
Well, I think what I'm concerned of, if
Oh, he should.
he hasn't been authorized to be on the water department property, okay, in an illegal meeting.
An illegal
then-
me- an
Illegal meeting. If this was how he was brought in, then he shouldn't be on water department property.
Mr. Chairman, please look at the last page of your packet, please. Mr. Manning has submitted this to your office. It's an email from Timothy Toomey, dated September 14th, 2:27 p.m. to Paul Provost, and copies John Manning and Mr. Dazel.
Do you want me to read that, Deb?
I'll read it. Want me to read it, Bob?
If you want, sure.
Dear, from Mr. Toomey to Paul Provost. Dear Paul, thank you for standing in temporarily as superintendent. I know it was short notice and that it was not a difficult task since you served before in 2014. Please let the DEP know of your temporary assignment, as well as determine any potential activities that need to be addressed. Please tell the commissioners that payroll needs to be signed tomorrow, Wednesday a.m. at the latest. Superintendent Wise was authorized by the Board of Selectmen to authorize these. Now that she is on administrative leave for 2 weeks, we have to certify them. Also, the board hired an investigator, William Michella from Saugus, to conduct an investigation into management practices of the department, contracts, and comp time. I will be setting the agenda for Tuesday next week. Please tell me of any emergency issues so I can post to the meeting. Please inform the staff of Mr. Michella's role on behalf of the board. I would editorialize with illegal role. If you or other commissioners have any questions, he can be reached at the phone number that they give there. I mean,
Neither one of them should be on the property
they
if this was an
shouldn't.
illegal.
They're illegally. They've been illegally hired. They're not going to get paid. They shouldn't be there. Either one of them. We have a water superintendent. She may be suspended, but she's our water superintendent. The role can be filled by the primary operator while she's under suspension.
If the board is defied and they come onto property, we should think about an injunction.
Yeah, I have no problem. I mean, I think we have to take whatever action we can to get a hold of this whole process. Whatever it takes is.
I'd note that I had no knowledge nor participated in anything to do with that letter with Provost or Michelle.
No, it was all cooked up ahead of time. This was all in place before the illegal meeting ever took place. All these people knew, this wasn't like, this letter to Mr. Provost, it doesn't even explain, well, this is why we're hiring you. He was waiting for this confirmation, I'm sure. And from the tenor of that letter, that's exactly, everybody was aware before the water board met on Friday what was gonna take place. And maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I think it's pretty obvious from the evidence we have here that this was all set in motion ahead of time, totally illegal. And like I say, once again, we're being set, the town of Rowley, all the taxpayers here and all the water users are being set up for a major, major lawsuit. And it's gonna be horrendously expensive, lawyers' fees, legal fees, time consuming, the amount of time that our staff here is gonna have to spend on doing all this stuff. It's just, I'm sorry, I wanna cry, I'm so upset with this whole thing. I really wanna cry because Mr. Toomey and Mr. Dazell seem to have their own private agendas that have nothing to do with giving us a good, credible, and responsible water system. And I don't understand it. They both voted to hire this person when she was hired, and she's been doing an unbelievable amount of work, and it's just become, I can't explain it, but I'm telling you right now, we're gonna be fighting, doing a lot. We're already spending, I mean, how much have we spent on Joe Fair already? on lawyer fees to do all this research for all these different projects, and they sit there and basically the other day get chuckled at. I mean, we're spending taxpayers' money and water users' money to do all this. And there's no excuse for it. So.
Okay, where do we stand? We got any
I don't
motions
know,
on the
do we have a
table?
motion on the table? Or
I
do
would
we
just
vote
seek an
then?
injunction.
I don't know. I don't know
We'd have to talk to council.
I think we have to need to talk to council on that. But if we're defied, and this appears to be an illegal meeting, then if they continue to be on the property, if something happens to one of them, okay, they trip or fall, okay, and hurt themselves, who's on the hook?
Well, yeah.
Where? So, we wouldn't let anybody just walk through the water treatment plant. We wouldn't let anybody just walk around 401 Central Street, okay, without proper escort and all that, okay? We gotta think about that, so.
And one last note, and I will end my speech. I know for a fact, I've spent the number of times I've gone up to the water treatment plant, I've run across water department employees, not the superintendent, but the employees. They have nothing but praise for the superintendent. They love working for her. They bend over backwards to do whatever she has wanted them to do. A couple of those people are older. One gentleman that works for the water department up here told me, I don't have to be here. I could go somewhere else and make a lot more money, but Mary Beth asked me to come here and work, and I'm more than happy to work here. So it's not just Mary Beth we're dealing with. We're dealing with these employees. They watch our meetings. They watch the water board meetings. And I constantly, when I run into them around town, get praise for the fact that, we're standing up for the superintendent and for the things to be done correctly. And it's just a shame that because they're getting it in the neck too. It's not just her, it's the employees up there, and at some point they're gonna say, you know what? And like I say, twice in my tenure here, we've lost all 90%, if not all, of the water department employees leaving in mass. Part of it was Deergate when we forced them out.
Mm-hmm.
The time before that, because of the previous chairman, Mr. Scott Martin, the way he treated the board up there, the employees, they all quit. We had a real good, before we hired Mary Beth, we had a real good primary operator, a couple of them, and they left because they weren't gonna put up with the BS. They went to other water departments, and I'm telling you right now, if we lose Mary Beth Weiser as our superintendent, and I was on the search committee, she was the only one who had any kind of credentials at all that applied for our position. I'm not even sure why she applied here. She's probably regretting it now. But nobody else was at all qualified. And with a reputation out there, you're drawing from a closed group of people that have to have all these licenses. So that if we lose a person, we're basically stealing a person with a license from some other water department. and nobody's gonna come, nobody wants to come here. Your tenure here is too short, it's useless. So we're in a position of really, I mean, this is not just about what was done on Friday. This has ramifications all the way up and down the employment of water department employees and licensing by the DEP and the running of that treatment plant. It's just, I can't talk enough, and I have talked enough. That's it for me tonight. Sorry.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay,
I'd just like to thank Mr. Manning for coming in
Yes,
tonight.
absolutely.
John, thank you.
Absolutely.
Pleasure. And, thank the board for the support.
And we need someone in the spring to run for the, assuming that we get nowhere, we need another, a good party to run for that position at the water board. Because whatever commissioner is up, I believe Mr. Dalzell is up for re-election. He needs to have an opponent, and we need to get someone in there that can support John, support the water department, so that we can get things back on track.
Mr. Chairman, there's a motion on the table by Mr. Peterson. Send William Muskeller
Oh, yeah.
a letter that he was appointed to lead. And there was no authorization,
And will not be paid for.
not be paid for services, not allowed, and they're not allowed beyond the lobby.
okay. Any comments, questions?
Did somebody second that? Amy?
I'll
I'll
second it.
Oh,
All right, Joe seconded. All right.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Okay. Thank you.
thanks, John.
John,
Thank you, John.
Thanks,
Thank you
John.
very much. Thanks, Karen, for stopping in.
Thanks, John.
I think we all need to be diligent at these meetings from now on, from the water board, as much as we can.
New business number 6, discuss town council Tom Mullins, open meeting law and public records law presentation. And I gotta tell you guys, I think we need to hire Tom and have him come down here and straighten out some of these people. I think the vast majority of our officials are following the requirements, but there are some that aren't, so.
Well, as personally, I think that either daytime or evening is okay with me. The only time that I'm tied up is going to be here Monday nights and occasionally on Wednesdays for my school committee meetings. But I'll be happy to attend. I think we need the presentation.
I think any kind of training, and if I've taken part in the citizens collaborative training sessions, and I've taken quite a few of those. When I went on the planning board, I wanted to understand the law, I want to understand planning, and I'm still on the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, and I think it's important for any elected official to take part in these training sessions. And I think we should send a letter out and emphasize to all boards and all appointed people that they should take part in these, understand how to conduct a meeting. It's so important because you can get yourself in a lot of trouble, as we've seen.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you, Bob, 100%. It never hurts to have a refresher.
If we're gonna be elected officials, I mean, just take it, and we're gonna stand up in front of the people, we should know what we're talking about, and we should conduct a meeting, and I think we could conduct them, by the book here,
Right.
in the way it should be. Robert's rules, agendas, adhere to the rules. This needs to, everybody in town who's either elected or appointed needs to, on a committee or a meeting, needs to take part in this.
I'm not sure what night, I would think we probably would like to schedule it in the evening, mainly because most of the boards are staffed by people who are working during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And we might get a better attendance, and those are the people we really want to get to, is the people in these various boards. And so, I would suggest maybe an evening. I don't know which night would be better based on what the schedule of board meetings is in the town.
These do seem to follow a sequence. Monday nights, it's the Selectmen, sometimes the Board of Health. believe they meet about every 2 or 3 weeks. Tuesdays, every third Tuesday is the Conservation Commission. The Finance Committee, this is, not budget season yet, so they're meeting, infrequently, about once a month. So there may be some Tuesday night slots that could be open between, a night that the FinCom and the Concom are not meeting. Wednesday night, the Planning Board tends to meet.
Also the
Thursday,
light board,
Light Board, every few weeks, I believe,
It's
not
once a
every
month.
week.
once a month.
Once a month, and the
Yeah.
Planning Board, I believe, meets twice a month on Wednesday. And the ZBA tends to meet every, third Thursday. So if I had to guess.
Sounds like a Tuesday.
I think a
an off
Tuesday,
Tuesday meeting might be best.
maybe a good night.
Tuesday, I would think of Tuesday.
We maybe schedule it at the library meeting.
Yes.
We
If
could do that,
that's
or
easily
upstairs.
accessible, well, the only thing upstairs, the acoustics are a little tough, that's the worst part of that. But, I don't know how many we're gonna get, but maybe the library.
I think the library is the better place. We have.
If we can, if we
You're
can
gonna
get
wanna
that.
plan that one ahead, because they're generally booked up.
Yes.
They have things, I know.
And,
If we can't use library, then obviously upstairs would be my second
The
choice.
acoustics up there are just tough.
They're tough to, yeah, it's tough to deal with.
And
Okay.
this is a free, service from the,
Right.
from
All
Tom
right.
Mullins' office.
We obviously need it, everybody should be aware of it.
Do we take a motion on that?
If you'd like to select that evening, and I'll get back to Attorney Mullen and make sure find a Tuesday that he's available, that there's
And it
no
fits-
other board meeting on
fits the
Tuesday.
other one.
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept the offer and that the town administrator make the arrangements
out the
to
schedule.
work out the schedule. That way she's not tied into a particular day or whatever. And
I'll
if-
second that.
If he better off in the daytime, that's fine too, but I mean, if I think.
No, he was available either time.
If we can get him in the evening and get, board people here that are
Mhm.
working during the week, I think that'd be helpful.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, motion made and seconded, all those in favor, signify by saying
Aye.
aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, that takes us down to old business, and Joe?
You calling me old?
No, I just said old business.
Oh, okay.
And old
that's-
business number one. Now,
That's
look,
okay.
I gave you the number one slot.
That's okay. I'll accept that.
Okay, Vice Chairman Joseph Perry to provide update on Triton School Committee September 9th school meeting, discussion on the stadium project, and fall special town meeting.
Well, I have a surprise for you. The cost of the stadium has gone up.
Oh, God.
Everybody can smile at that one.
I would have been very disappointed if it hadn't.
Yes. The school committee at its meeting on Wednesday night, September 9th, voted to go ahead with the stadium renovation. And that they sent out a letter dated September 10th, and I believe there is a copy inside the packet here, but it's from the superintendent saying that we continue to make progress in our efforts to refurbish Triton High School Stadium. And basically, they are still going by the project total cost of $4 million, offset by $800,000 in gifts, donations, and other funding sources. This results in a bond issue of $3,200,000, and that's the figures that they gave us, and that's the figures that we worked on and voted last last May in the at the town meeting. No, in the election, I'm sorry. And so we did receive a certificate from the secretary of the school committee that the meeting was attended by 8 of the 9 members of the school committee, which constituted a quorum, which members were present and voting throughout, and the following vote was duly adopted by vote of 8 yeas to 0 nays for the purpose of paying costs of renovating the Triton Stadium and including the payment of all other costs incidental and related to. that within 7 days of the vote is adopted, the secretary be, and hereby is instructed to notify the Board of Selectmen of each member town. And so all 3 member towns, Rowley, Newbury, and Salisbury have been notified of the vote. If I could point out some things that are in the package, there are figures on page 2 that Brian Forget, the Assistant Superintendent, gave updated figures, and that he is given by bond issues, possible bond issues. It might increase the annual payments that we were quoted last year from $219,000 up to $232,000. But they're still going to work within their budget of $4 million, reduced by $800,000 in gifts and otherwise. There are figures about the track and field project on page 3 and the building project and design fees. They do have a contingency fee of 10% built in. I would also like to ask the members of the board to carefully consider the annex. It's typed Annex 7, which at the top of the page, starting on page 5. And this is the memorandum of understanding between the Triton Regional School Committee and the 3 towns. And it talks about revenues from the use of the stadium and how our costs of paying off the costs of the stadium renovation could be reduced. They firmly believe that they can rent out the stadium to various soccer groups, to various sports groups, and develop a revenue stream that could reduce our costs to the individual towns. And I'd like to, I would hope that the members of the committee would read the pages, the 5 pages that are in the packet that are labeled draft, so that we could have a comment. We are going to have a district communications meeting to discuss this item on, it will be either October 1st or 7th or 8th. And I would like as many members of the board to attend that very important meeting, district communications meeting, so that, because we are allowed to discuss and give our input on this very, very important document. That's about all I have to say.
Okay.
Any questions?
So are we gonna vote, we'll look at this and vote, are we gonna vote, or instruct you how to vote? at next meeting,
What
maybe?
I would like, because we have another meeting, we have at least 2 more meetings before that possible district communications meeting, that you could give me instructions that, but give it the chance
Input
to
anyway,
review
yeah.
it, because
Okay.
there is a lot in those pages as to what percentages and how they're going to allocate the funds, and going into their free cash. So I think that's important for us to understand, work through. Any other comments, questions?
Mr. Vice Chairman, because of the way the funding will go, then there will be no need to have any immediate town meeting to appropriate any.
That's
any-
correct.
anything, Because the assessment will not
earliest,
show up
right.
until fiscal 17, right?
Fiscal 17, or possibly even fiscal 18.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it?
I'm afraid that's all I have.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Old business number 2, discuss recruitment process for police chief position. Job description for the police chief is complete. Chief Barker's last day will be December 24, 2015. How does the board wish to proceed with the replacement process for the police chief position?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I thought long and hard after our last meeting, and I was intrigued by your statement
Uh-oh.
about, no, it was a good thing.
Okay, that's a novelty.
About the former Georgetown chief, and I don't mean him personally doing it, but
Right.
he's doing an interim chief's position wherever. And the more I thought about this, is we have, for the last, well, the time I've been on the board since 1990, we've basically jockeyed the same people around from position to position, and I mean, occasionally we get a new patrolman and they move up, but we haven't really had anyone really look at the department and give us a consensus of where we are, where we would like to go, where we need to go. And I think under the present job description that we have, that we reviewed, like the personnel board reviewed it the last week, there's only one person on the Raleigh Police Department who would be eligible to apply. And he's only been, I'm not knocking him at all, but he's only been a lieutenant for a short period of time.
Mhm.
And so I would ask the board to consider, rather than appointing advertising, I think we're gonna have a hard time advertising for a chief at this point. And we're gonna be buying a pig in a poke, basically. What I would like to take a look at, and maybe in the end we won't do it, but is to take a look at the possibility of hiring an interim chief for a year, and maybe even a year and a half, which would give that chief time to come in, take a look at the department, analyze what we got going up there, what the good things, the bad things, whatever, and come back with a recommendation after 6 months in office, let's say, give or take. And at that point, the board, whoever's on the board here at that time, would make a decision, okay, fine, that's great, now we know what kind of a chief we're looking for, whether it be someone from in the department or from outside, and a little more information. I think right now, this is October 1st. October 1st is coming very quickly here.
Yep.
If the chief is leaving in 2.5 months, that's not a lot of time
No.
for a position that's really, really critical within the town. And I just think that, I think we need to take a look at the department up there.
Dave, let
really
me
analyze it. Yeah.
understand. So what we would do, in interim chief, this person would not be a candidate for for the position.
No, generally they're
person-
retired chiefs.
Okay,
It's
all right.
almost like the superintendents, if you look at the school system,
Yep.
they have an interim superintendent, they'll do the same thing like we're looking, they'll come in, they're
Okay.
retired superintendents or retired chiefs. And I believe that's what Bob was talking about at the last meeting,
Yeah.
was this particular gentleman who used to be chief of Georgetown, he's retired, and what he
Uh-huh.
does is
He's filling in down in Rockport.
he does he signs, comes in under a contract, so we're not
Okay.
paying, we're not paying insurance or any of those things. He comes as a client, we don't end up paying unemployment when he leaves like we did with the water board guy that came
Okay.
in. That kind of stuff, and he basically comes in and fills the spot till we make a decision about what we wanna do. And,
He would have all the tools to look and assess the
yeah, he's got
department.
experience. A lot of these
And, yeah,
guys have,
okay.
10, 20 years as chiefs, and, they've dealt with small departments, bigger
Mhm.
departments, and like I say, Bob mentioned the gentleman from the former chief of Georgetown, and I'm not
Okay.
looking at anybody, have no idea. But between, Chief Barker, and I did get a call from former chief,
Barry?
who?
Barry?
Yeah, Barry,
Barry.
yeah, Chief Barry, who would be more than happy to serve on a search committee or whatever, and I think we could tap their brains a little bit to see what's out there. And if, say in a couple of weeks, we come up dry, with we don't really wanna do it, then at least, I think it's worth taking the time to look at it, that's all.
Okay.
However you guys feel you wanna do it, but I think it'll give us a little bit of breathing room to fill a position that, and to work in a department up there, they've got some issues too, so I mean, and it's been such a move the chess pieces around up there, it's really time to take a hard look at it.
Yeah, it's been since basically the mid-70s.
Yeah,
Okay, we had a police chief who was killed in the line of duty,
right.
1973. We hired a local person that lived in Newbury to come in as the chief at that point. He was here for, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years, something like that. And then after that, there were two outsiders that came in, and both of those, the first one lasted about a year, and the second one about the same time.
Yeah.
And then at that point, that's when Kevin was hired, and Kevin hadn't even been on the force very long. He was kind of like an auxiliary patrolman at that point. And after that, Kevin and then Barker were the only two that we've had since that time. So we're looking at 30 years, maybe.
Been a long time.
Yeah, there was 1980, I would say, that, you know, by the time things quieted down, around that time frame.
Right.
So you're looking at about 35 years.
And part of what concerns me is, we're looking for the qualifications, we're looking for some good qualifications, obviously.
Yes, yeah,
And the one drawback that the town of Raleigh has, it's good for our budget, because we only pay 51%?
52.5.
52.5% of the health insurance
insurance.
coverage for our employees. That's all the employees, including the chief of police.
Yeah.
Well, most towns, not all, but most are paying 75%, in some cases more than that, of health insurance coverage. So if you get a person that's a lieutenant or a captain or a deputy chief, isn't really gonna wanna come to Raleigh and end up, when he retires, getting less health insurance coverage than what, so, there's always that possibility. So,
Yeah.
like the last two you talked about was from out of state, cause they're getting a pension or whatever
Yeah.
in New Hampshire, I believe they both were.
Yeah.
So you can come down here, it's a new pension system, they got their coverage from out of state, so, it would seem to me that the pool is probably gonna be relatively small of candidates who want to come to Raleigh, and for that reason also, I think it's important that we take some time, analyze what's going on up there, and, if, we're working on the news station at the same time
Yep.
here, and whether the taxpayers will approve that or not is another whole issue, but
yeah.
I think we got a lot of things going here, and just take the water board issue alone, if we can get a little bit of breathing space, bring in someone who we know knows what they're doing, and then can give us a report in 6 or 8 months, whatever, as to what the status of the department is, and make recommendations to us as to what we should look for in a chief, and, if we wanna hire from inside, by that time, the current lieutenant will have, a fair amount of time in office, and can be evaluated and be responsible, so it provides an opportunity for that person who probably would have a hard time being selected at this point. Maybe it would work out in the end, I don't know, guarantee, obviously, but it gives us all some breathing room, and I think we really need to get an assessment on what's going on with the police department, and how we can improve it, and, accentuate the positive and take
Right.
care of the negatives.
Yep. So if you think that's a good idea, I could contact the gentleman and see,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
see
if you-
how he feels
I don't know if
about
you
it.
need a motion on that, or whether you just wanna, at this point, just maybe come back next meeting, Bob, if you can talk to
And catch
him.
up with him, yeah, yeah.
And, I can, if you want, Kevin's available, we can talk to him, I'm sure Bob, the current chief, is available they're all involved with these chiefs of police associations, so give us a little idea of what's out there, and then in a week or two, or another couple of weeks, we can make a decision if that's the way we'd like
That's
to
an
go.
idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I know he did
I hadn't thought of that.
he did a great job in Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
He
important.
straightened things right out
Yeah.
over there. It was really,
And like I said, we're not looking at him necessarily, although, hey, who knows, maybe he'd be available, but at least, I know that it's quite like I say, with school superintendents, it's done all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you
Yeah.
want, I mean, we
And
can,
Joe knows, Joe, you've been dealing with the school.
we can
you
meet
know
with
how it is.
Kevin and Bob and see, and if we can then try. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have to call him right up front, so.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he's gonna be in his
No, I
present
mean,
position
we're really
anyway,
looking
but-
for, he'd have a handle on how the whole system works, and
Yeah.
I have no idea how it works, or for sure, I mean, we get an idea of what, so we can all understand, what we're dealing with. And
Yeah.
I know, like, the last couple of superintendents we got, they're both doing that now, I believe, they're taking temporary one-year assignments in different school systems to tide people over, so.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, with the number of issues we've got going, we got some major things we're dealing with, to be able to have someone come in and, work with
Very
the police
important.
department and assess it, so that in a year from now, or a year and a half from now, it might even be worth see if we can do it for 18 months or something, but could cross that road later on, but
Yeah.
by then, we'll be in a position, or cut the board in place at that time, can have some real hard information, neutral, so-called neutral, unbiased information as
Right.
to how to proceed and who might be good to work in that position.
Yeah, we could do it for a year and then extend it if we. If
Yeah, I
we
think it'd
find it
be worth,
necessary.
if we hire someone and talk about a year to a year and a half, depending on, if we can get it done in a year, that'd be great. It was maybe
Yeah.
that'd be too quick, but.
Okay,
Good idea,
Thank you.
good idea.
so the next old business is update on Friends of the Raleigh Public Library Chili Cook-Off. Let's see, Tim Young, the president of the Friends of the Raleigh Public Library, would like to follow up on the following details of the chili cook-off, scheduled for Saturday, September 26th, 2015. The tent will be set up on the Thursday prior to the event and taken down on either Monday or Tuesday following the event. Can they move their 10 by 6 chili banner from its current location at the library entrance and install it on the gazebo on the Route 1A side sometime this week? They would take down on September 27th. Can they use the parking lot at Town Hall on the day of the event? Can they borrow the Selectmen's hot dog steamer for this event?
Finally get another use for that hot dog steamer, huh?
So, is there anything else that's on the list, or I don't see
No.
any of these issues that create a
No, I
major
think,
problem.
Tim has been working very hard in pulling together these last details, and he really wants to make sure the board is satisfied with any of the modifications in the plan, and one of them was that the tent company, may need to come down on Thursday, the event's on Saturday, but they may not be able to remove it till Monday or Tuesday, and he wanted to make sure that was okay. Then he was trying to find another tent company that would close in that time frame and make it
Make it
tighter.
tighter?
And we're not sure, so I said, don't worry, I'll just get the permission from the selectmen to make, that would be okay regardless of which company he uses to get the tent out.
Well, I think what we need to do, Deb, is get another committee going and figure out what we're gonna do on these off days that the tent is still there.
Well, we do have the farmer's market on, I believe they're still going on the
It
following
should
Sunday. I think
It'll
they're
be there
winding
that
up.
Sunday, yeah.
So if the tent is there, I don't know if that poses any issues for the group, but
I don't
perhaps
know, it
not.
depends on the schedule, because they generally have the tractor display on one of their final weekends, which would be a Sunday. So I don't know exactly what day they're planning on that,
Yeah,
but, so what are we talking, the 26th here?
right.
I think
It'll
that's-
be the last Sunday in September.
I think
They
that
usually go to October.
they go, I was gonna say, I think they've been going into October.
Yeah, they go in like the middle of October.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
couple of years, they always look for an extension, whatever they currently have, so.
What's the time for the chili cook-off again?
It's 2 p.m. to 5 to dusk.
Okay.
I don't have any problem. I think they run, Tim is so conscientious about all this stuff.
Yes.
He's really does a great job with it. And I think whatever we can do to help him out, we can. And just as an aside, I was over in Ipswich on Sunday, and I'm not gonna name any names, but a gentleman who's gonna be cooking chili wanted to know, how do you get to run an event like this on your common? And everyone's cooperating, the Board of Health, the Selectmen, and the police. He says, because over here in Ipswich, you can't do, everybody looks for a way to say no to things rather than say yes to things. It's like, so if Tim is listening to the broadcast tonight, I put in a good word for him. I says, Tim's the guy that
Yeah.
spearheads all this. He's running for a number of years. He runs a great program. He's got a lot of nice help. The town supports him, and all the town, we're here we want the common to be used. We want the library to be used. It's a great time and everything else, and the work they put in, it's well worth it. So,
We talked about
It
it,
is.
years ago. I mean, the library
Yeah.
is the cultural
Yep.
hub of the town. It really is.
And it's such a great fundraiser, and they help out the library for their reading program and a lot of other things. They really do a terrific job in helping out
It's
the
hard to get
library.
people out
To
It
answer,
to go to these things. This is
to
a
answer
great
that
way to get,
question,
Yep.
to
Yes,
answer
Bob.
that question, Dave,
Mr. Chairman.
The Friends are a great group. They really are.
this is a village.
Yep.
Ipswich is just a plain old town.
Whoa,
You'll get some feedback on that.
whoa.
It's true. It's true.
But no, it's
The
quite an
village
affair.
joins, the village joins together.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've judged that chili cook-off one year, and I'm sure some of you guys probably
Oh,
have
I've
too.
done it too. I've
and,
done it too.
It was fun, it really
Yeah.
was, and I
And
love
actually,
chilies.
on one of the first one, I think it was the first or second one that they actually did, because they used to do them at the country club.
Yeah,
The Georgetown Rotary participated with them too. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
yeah.
It
It was
is.
a lot of fun.
It is. It is. Yep. I was a judge for 1 year
Okay.
before I had my little problem with my open heart surgery, and
Chili did them in.
they will have an honorary judge this year.
Okay. But no, it's critical. I think they do a great
Honorary or
job.
honorary?
Yes.
Need
I'll give you a
motion?
motion to
Okay, I'll second that motion.
do the banner in the parking lot and the
And the
hot dog
hot dog
steamer.
cart. We just
Alright.
need to brief him on the operation of the steamer.
And if there's any leftover chili, can they bring it in here for Monday night? We have a little chili feed before the meeting.
Yeah, who was gonna provide the, tutorial on the hot dog steamer? I had a panel of professionals from the,
Well,
Fourth of July,
We gotta bring Mary Ellen out of
celebrations.
retirement, because she's the one that always runs
She's
it.
the pro.
That's right, she
I don't know
does.
if she'll be available, but, we can, get it in here and have Tim come in and show
Yeah,
him.
instruction books too, I don't think it's too bad.
A lot of thought
A lot of,
and work went into it, Amy, that was one of our first projects. Spent a lot of time
And
and
she
a lot of
hasn't recovered
selectmen's.
since
Amy did a great job picking that one out.
Yep.
Yep.
That was a nice one.
all right.
Okay, so that takes care
We
of.
have to take a vote.
We,
Oh,
yeah,
we
we
gotta,
did.
we gotta vote for it.
Sure, you wanna make a motion?
Oh, we
Mr.
did.
Perry made it and Mr.
Joe made
Swanson.
it, I seconded.
Okay, motion to accept the amendments to the chili cook-off schedule and plans. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. So the next item is minutes for March 16th, 2015. So has everybody had a chance to look at them?
What's this Tim Toomey, was it, is he looking to add something just for the clarity?
No,
Or was that
I-
actually in the motion and it just got
I-
neglected?
Well, I think I, by mistake, read it into the meeting. And if I did do that, I didn't look at the tape, but I probably did do that. I'll admit to it, and it should be in there.
Yeah, but I don't see where, if you read the, it says here, Chairman Mary read the executive session agenda into the record. That's not part of the motion. I mean, I would prefer, I think for legal purposes, to leave the motion the way it is. And if you want to insert something that Chairman Mary read the executive session agenda into the record prior to them or something, you know what I mean? But the agenda, the motion is the motion based
Yeah, I
on,
didn't change the motions that were made, I just
Right.
put the note that
and all he's saying here is
requested that they
that
change.
you read, before the motion was made, you read the executive agenda, which I don't see as a problem anyway, but I'm not sure what the problem is here. But I don't think we need to add that if it wasn't in the, I think the motion that was read into the, that was made, was recorded by Amy and it was, it didn't include this, right?
Right.
So it shouldn't be included in it then. If you wanna put a footnote or something, but I don't think it makes any difference. I think it's once again, it's a.
Well, it's up to you guys, because I mean, I'm not gonna,
No, I don't wanna say, I won't vote if it wasn't in the motion that recorded by the secretary, then it should not be in there. We don't edit these to kind of fit into something later on. It's supposed to be what actually happened here. And like I say, if you wanna add a note that the chairman read the agenda before the motion, I don't have a problem with that, but not, the motion was the motion that was given and
Exactly.
voted
Yeah.
on.
That's the way you recorded it, right,
Right.
Amy? Okay, that's,
And I don't think it even needs a footnote, because I don't think it makes any difference.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as read without Mr. Toomey's comments.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Do we understand what they want?
I've already been approved. These minutes have already been approved by the Board of Selectmen
Oh, they have?
Oh,
on August 25th.
Oh, well, so what do you want?
Well, it was a joint meeting, so when the water board took the minutes up, they
No.
they voted to request this change.
No, I can't go along with that, because what happens over there is, and we've seen it many times, Bob, is Mr. Toomey in particular goes through and wants to change something that he doesn't like reflected.
okay,
I know over here, we keep a very careful record.
before we go any further, can we rescind the vote we just had? I'll make a
Yeah.
motion to rescind the vote we just made.
Well, we didn't make it. Did I
We
call for the
didn't
vote?
actually vote.
I haven't called
we
for
vote?
the vote.
Withdraw
Okay.
the motion.
I'll withdraw the motion,
Okay, withdraw the motion, okay, good.
so just leave it as it is. No, we're not gonna do anything, we're not gonna make any changes.
I
Okay.
mean, the motion is correct in
Oh,
these
yeah, it was
minutes.
approved, yeah.
I think it was just the statement that the agenda was read.
All right.
Sure.
It's
It
not different.
wasn't a part of that.
It's not a material thing, it's just,
Okay, I mean, do you want a motion on it, Deb, or to do that, or just forget it?
It's up to the board, I'm not sure what,
You know, I'm gonna just be present, so
well, the vice chairman should probably preside.
call for whatever needs to be done.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion?
I'll make a motion just to let the minutes stand as approved on August 25th, 2015. Just to make it clear that that's,
What are you doing?
we approved these minutes originally on August 25th.
Right,
The water board's requested that we make this change, so my motion is that the motion is to let the minutes stand as approved on August 25th,
Yes.
2015.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 I'm just present. Okay. So that pretty much takes care of, or actually does take care of old business, and the minutes are taken care of. Announcements, the town has the following vacancies: Shellfish Commissioners, 2 seats; Cable Advisory Committee seeking 5 members; Fence Viewer, 3 positions; Wood, Lumber, and Bark Inspector, and Zoning Board of Appeals Associate, 2 seats; Historical Commission, Historic District Commission, 2 seats; Parks and Recreation Committee, 2 seats; Open Space Committee is seeking 1 member. For more information on these positions, please contact the Selectman's office at 948-2372. Raleigh Food Pantry is in need of donations. The food pantry is open Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Thursdays from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Rowley Chili Cook-Off will be held on Saturday, September 26, 2015, from 2 p.m. to dusk on the town common. September's Artist of the Month at Rowley Public Library. Our artist for September is Dan Fonte, I think, an artist and an educator living in Newburyport. Dan's primary mediums include drawing, painting, and photography. Some of his recent work has explored how people become so familiar with the places in which they exist on a daily basis that they begin to move through life unseeing, and how we may overcome this through trying to open ourselves to observing finite detail in our environments as a form of meditation. He believes that people should make art rooted in the things that they know and allow themselves to be inspired by everyday things. The Raleigh Public Library, 141 Main Street in Raleigh, is fully accessible. For more information, call 978-948-2850. Okay. I think that goes with this one. The next thing on the agenda is adjournment.
Give me that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned.